Welcome to the June 25th, 2021 video version of the Wagner Daily. My name is Rick Petticelli, and as usual, once a week, this video replaces the written commentary portion of our report. Hopefully it serves as a nice change of pace, as well as offers some insight as to how we set up our charts, what time frames and indicators we use. As you can see, we try to keep it pretty simple. We're big believers of just price and volume action with a few key moving averages. We also have relative strength line up, but that's it. So in this video, we're going to run through a few broad market averages to give us an idea of how the market's acting. Then we'll get into open positions in the model portfolio. There are over 10, I believe, so maybe we'll just cover a few that have interesting price action. And then we'll take a look at setups that could be in play over the next few days, as well as a few setups that might be a little bit more subtle than the obvious breakout to new highs, such as a reversal candle after an undercut of the 20-day EMA. So first up is the Nasdaq Composite, which continues to act well, trending higher above the rising 10 and 20 EMA. And if Thursday's low fails to hold, look for the price action to find support around the 20 EMA on the hourly, which it hasn't touched in a few days. So that's where we'd look for as a first line of defense here on a pullback. S&P 500 recovered from a nasty slice through the 50 MA, bounced right back to new highs. Pretty interesting price action. And with the money rotating into growth, I don't know that we need the S&P 500 to rip higher here. We're just looking for the price to hold above the 50, which it did. So if it can hold above the rising 20 EMA, that would be great. IWP is an ETF we monitor because many of the stocks we like to trade, growth stocks, are in this ETF. And it cleared the prior high this week, still below the all-time high, but looking pretty good. And note the RS line here is on a nice slope here. On to open positions in the model portfolio. FRHC was just added to the portfolio on Thursday on a move through the highs of the past few days. Note that the volume picked up nicely on the breakout, and the price closed in the upper half of the day's range. So a solid day there in FRHC. We also added to CDNA on the gap, which isn't ideal, but we do like how the price action recovered off the lows of the session into the close. And if you look to the right here on the hourly chart, there's a downtrend line break, and the price action pulled back to that downtrend and found support, which is what we'd like to see. And tomorrow we'll be looking for CDNA to open above this 95.50 area and push out through the prior day's high as a sign of strength. Next up is CRWD. Looking pretty good. Cleared the base high on a pickup in volume and has chopped around the past few days on lighter volume. And if we look at the hourly chart, the price, so there's this failed break of this downtrend line here around 11 a.m., but the price action pulled back to the rising 20 EMA, which is just a great moving average for any time frame, the 5, 15, hourly, daily. The only time frame we don't use it on is maybe the weekly, and it works on the weekly. It's just that we're not really looking at stocks that are pulling back to the 20-week EMA. So it's just a great moving average. And on the hourly, we find that, if a stock's holding above the rising 20 EMA, there's just nothing to do. Try to be patient and hold on to the winner. And so when we look at stocks, and if the price action is a bit extended from the 10-day moving average, we'll take a look on the hourly chart and see how it's holding up versus the 20. And you can see here with Crwd, it is a bit extended from the 10, but the price action is holding the 20 on the hourly, so it looks to be in pretty good shape. Now if the price were to break the 20 EMA and Thursday's low, then that would increase the odds of a pullback into the 10 EMA. But each day the 10 EMA is stepping higher, so even if the price does fail here, it may have less than 2% before it hits the 10 EMA. And SHOP also extended from the 10 EMA, but unlike Crwd, did not hold the 20 EMA and sold off in the afternoon. So there's this downtrend line break. It's a failed breakout attempt. The 10 EMA is rolling over, crossing below the 20. So it's possible that if SHOP breaks down below 1470 area, it could be headed for a test to the 10. could also open up at near 1500 and push higher. We never know. And LSPD is a recent breakout that we caught. And it's just another example of a stock that's extended from the 10 EMA. And if we go to the hourly, it did break the hourly downtrend line after finding support at the 20 EMA. And now it's holding on to the 10 EMA on the hourly. So when you're looking at a daily chart and you see that's extended from the 10 and the 20, take a look on the hourly and see what's going on before you sell the stock and thinking that it might be extended and due for a pullback. And also, if you find that you're looking to sell a stock and it's pulled back in, let's see here. It's not the greatest example. I'm looking for a pullback to the 20. So ZS, there's a false breakout above 222 today, and it pulled back in. If you find yourself right here going, I don't know if ZS is going to hold up, I want to sell. See how it holds up versus the 20 period EMA on the hourly before taking any action. All right, let's take a look at a few setups that could be in play. GDRX is interesting here on the daily chart due to the big run up, about 50% move off the lows. Now it's well off the highs, but the price broke the downtrend line. And you can see the 20 crossed the 50 and it's curving up here. And now the 10-day, the price action closed above the 10-day EMA. So if it can clear Thursday's high, it could be ready to move, especially with the 10-day EMA at the day's low. Aggressive traders could look to enter with a pretty tight stop. Or one could go with the stop beneath the 2-day low, about 5% away. Also note all this tight action here with the wicks. As soon as we clear all these wicks, and the wicks are just these lines here attached to the body of the candle. As soon as you get above those wicks, that's generally a sign that it's go time. BYND is another interesting setup. Now, GDRX and BYND are two stocks that aren't our typical setups in that we're looking for growth stocks that are within 20% of 52-week highs. These stocks have been hit hard and are well off the 52-week high, 40, 50%. But if you already have 4 to 5, 6 names in your portfolio that are IBD style, 20, 25% positions, and you're looking to maybe put on a few quicker swing trades, then these setups might be the kind of stocks you want to do that with because they have the potential to really move once they get going. So with BYND, strong move up on volume, pull back on lighter volume, finally touched the 20-day EMA, and you can see this downtrend line. There's been no closes above the downtrend line, still no close. But today's reversal action is interesting because the price dipped beneath the 20-day EMA and a week's worth of lows here and reversed back above that line. Also closed right at the 200-day EMA. So look for BYND to open above 144 and potentially punch through Thursday's high to trigger a long. Next up is FUBO, and I want to look at the hourly chart to show you something else we look at quite a bit is just tight price action on the hourly chart. Here's a break of the downtrend line followed by 2 hours of tight price action off the 20 period EMA. So if price can punch through this 30 to 60 area, it could resume its uptrend. For a short-term trade, FUV could be in play. Again, this is another stock that's well off its highs, but has ripped higher off the lows, doubled in price, pulled back about 26% off the highs, which is still pretty good. Still above the rising 20 EMA. Volume was just humongous on the move up, and again, it was higher volume on 6/16, which is an accumulation day, after a lighter volume pullback. And after the accumulation day, we just see sideways action here on a nice dry up in volumes. So that's pretty price and volume action. And so we have this breakout attempt that fails on 6/23, but the price action tightens up the very next day. So if it can make it back through this prior swing high, it could be in play. Also note the nice action here on the hourly chart, breaking the downtrend line after 2 hours of pretty tight price action here, right just below the 20 EMA on the hourly. So just a quick recap, broad market conditions are still pretty good for growth stocks, which is what we like to trade. Anything can happen in the short term. There was some selling yesterday afternoon in a few of our stocks. If that selling follows through on Friday, then we could see a few stocks in the model portfolio pull back in, but we look for those pullbacks to be short-lived and eventually lead to higher prices. That being said, anything can happen in the market, so we're not saying the market is going higher from here or that it's going to pull back, but we just want to keep an open mind here. So far, so good. We like what we see. Let's take it one day at a time. That's a wrap for tonight's video. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.